Say it with me. 11! Oh, man. You know, most days, hang on a second, let me turn this down. Most days, I'll start these and I go, I think it's working. But oh man, I gotta tell you, more than most days, I have the I hope it's working, because you know what I did? Hey guys, by the way, hi. We had a long weekend. I think it's working, Antorni. I know, I think it's working. Stefan pointed out I had the wrong date. I even made a graphic for the right date. Jeez. Anyway, well, that sort of sets me up for what I was about to say anyway. You know, we had this long weekend, and I didn't fully think. I had two completely independent thoughts, one a non-thought and one a thought. The non-thought was that starting a stream on a Tuesday when you don't have a Monday to kind of just make sure that life is working as you expect means that you just have Tuesday morning to like do it. Because we were off in the States, at least we were off on Monday. Some other people, I know Sweden, for example, my colleagues in Sweden, they were off last Thursday and Friday. So it's kind of been this weird sort of long weekend. We've been disconnected from each other. But anyway, that was the non-thought, that Tuesday might be not give me enough time if I'm taking Monday off. The second thought that I did have was during my 3-day weekend, I totally discombobulated my whole life. I was doing some soldering projects. Maybe should I show you? Maybe I should show you guys what I was soldering, because you're actually hearing it. You're hearing my weekend project as we speak. I normally have been coming to you through a certain signal chain of preamp and compressor, and I built a new compressor. Well, an old compressor, but a new one, a new old compressor. Stefan's asking, I was off yesterday? Yes, I wasn't ignoring your emails or messages, Stefan. We were off in the US. So anyway, I built this compressor. I've been building hardware during the lockdown. I don't, apparently everyone else I know has been making sourdough bread. Me, not so much with the sourdough bread. I have been building hardware. I guess hardware is the sourdough of the music tech world. I'm not quite sure. Stefan is guessing an LA2A style compressor. No, it is not, though I can show you something else. I've got something like that in the works. This weekend, I built, I'll show it to you here. Oh boy, here we go. Oh boy, this is a terrible idea. Hang on. Whoa, man. Okay, let's go in here. There it is. You can see the meter flicking back. I made a Blue Stripe 1176 clone, and I kind of geeked out on some like aesthetic things because I won't bore you guys. I honestly won't bore you. Oh boy, here we go. I won't bore you guys with all the details. But I geeked out on the meter face. I had custom meter faces made. The lamp. Don't get me started on the neon lamp, the power indicator. I spent more hours than you would want to know researching the exact right model of neon power indicator lamp that was used in those originals. And I got one because it's kind of iconic to me. The studio that I started apprenticing at way back when I was a teenager had a Blue Stripe, and I looked at that little meter faceplate and that neon indicator. I looked at this so much. I thought, what a cool little thing. So when I built one, I sort of thought, I gotta find that stuff. Bobby asked, was it expensive to build? No, it's not expensive to build. In fact, I'll throw out, maybe, I don't know, is this kosher? I'll throw out a plug for the guys that make these kits. Their name is Hairball Audio. They make these build kits with fantastic instructions. If you know basically how to solder, you can do it. It's not that hard. I'll show you. I have the disused, for anyone that does care about the aesthetics the way I do, I have my disused Hairball Audio front panel. This is what they send you. You'll notice no neon lamp indicator. And you'll also notice, I mean, I'd have to go back and show you again the, well, here, I can, you know what I can do? Hang on. I bet you I can pull up a graphic of an original real quick without getting my camera all in a tizzy. Okay, let's see here. How off topic are we already? That's right. It's just me today, and I can do whatever I want. Anyway, oh, wait a second. Stefan is saying something's not working? Is it not working? Live streaming, hang on. Doesn't show any indication, time indication. Oh, I know what he's talking about. Okay, yeah, well, sorry, Stefan, I guess that's, okay, so it is working. That's a side conversation we were having. We'll figure that out, Stefan. Okay, so here, let me just jump over here. Here's an original Blue Stripe. So you'll notice the sort of the vintage Weston meters there, and the little weird bezel around that lamp indicator. Oh man, I can't tell you how many hours I stared at this thing. I mean, using it. I was actually using it, but I definitely sort of latched onto that stuff. So when I was building my own, and this is no offense to the Hairball guys, they make fantastic kits. When I was building my own, and this arrived, I just thought, oh, I've got to improve upon this. I need to put that lamp on there, and I need to get that meter to be correct. So anyway, that's what I did this weekend. But what that means is that I kind of took the whole place apart. The whole studio kind of got diswired, and my desk was just absolutely a pile of, different bits and bobs and soldering and that kind of stuff. So it was a bit of a scramble today as I realized, oh, I need to actually make the stream work. And we'll find out, maybe it was a colossal failure and nothing's going to work here. So I sort of have this knock on wood thing going as I head into the stream here, because this is the other headline. It's just us today, guys. I am all alone. Have you guys seen, this is going to be an old movie reference now, but in Wayne's World, saw it when I was a kid, there's a moment where Garth is sort of left alone. Wayne goes off, I can't remember, he gets somehow pulled off into a side conversation. They come back from commercial, and it's just Garth. And he sort of has this total stone face, kind of it's fine. Everything's going to be fine. Yeah. So that's me today. Today I am Garth. But and here's why. So because well, I thought it'd be fun to talk about chord progressions. I'll be honest with you. I'm working on a chord progression tutorial. Some of you guys know, and maybe some of you don't. I do a lot of most of the tutorials and videos on the Propeller Head. Wow, well, that's like writing the wrong date on your check. On the Reason Studios YouTube channel. So I've been making those videos for years. I've done a series called Ryan's Quick Picks for Mix Fix Tricks. I think that's it. And then the Super Neat Beat Cheat Sheet series, and I've done other micro tutorials. A lot of times, if you heard Frank's voice, who has done a lot of the narration for us over the years, a lot of that stuff was stuff that I did and Frank narrated. So you've probably seen a lot of my tutorials if you've looked at our channel, and I'm working on a new one. It's about chord progressions, but other work being what it is, it's going on for a little bit. It's going to be coming out soon, but I sort of thought oh, maybe we can sort of knock out some of this stuff on a live stream, and I could sort of talk with you guys in a I was going to say in a little more raw form. I'm going to go with a lot more raw form than my tutorials. My tutorials are, 15 minutes long, and they're kind of very carefully written and crafted. But Stefan says things are fine. I think it's working. Oh, just the catchphrases are just adding up here. Jonathan, thank you. Your tutorials are great. Thank you. They're very fun to make. But I made a tutorial a couple years ago now, about writing melodies. People had requested a melody writing tutorial, and I'll be honest, I didn't have a method for writing melodies. I kind of just do it. I hate to say I do it intuitively, but I kind of do. Anyone who plays an instrument will know that over the years of learning songs and stuff, you kind of just develop something of a melodic vocabulary. And that comes out when you start approaching melody writing, is you kind of just, I don't know, I didn't have a method when people were requesting it. But I recognized that if they were making the request, it's because they didn't have any kind of intuitive process or melodic vocabulary. So I came up with this method for how to write melodies, and I'll be darned, it worked. Like, I actually was able to, if you haven't seen it, you should check out the video. And Stefan, maybe, dare I say, you could even post it in the chat if nobody's seen it and wants to see that one. I came up with this concept where you could sort of start with a chord progression and pick some notes within those chords that would form the fence posts of your melody, and then sort of travel from note to note, kind of in a linear fashion or in a non-linear fashion. And it was sort of the balance of, this would make way more sense if you watched the tutorial, but it's the balance of the linear and the non-linear movement between those fence post notes that are coming from the chord progression, which make up a melody. So I was like, okay, that seems like a viable way to make a melody. And, Stefan says, I wasn't listening. Which video? The how to write melodies. I think it's called Writing Melodies or How to Write Melodies, something like that. It's I think that falls under the Super Neat Beat Cheat Sheet series. But anyway, so I put it out into the world, and I just thought, I hope this works. I hope this helps. And my favorite part of making tutorials, let me tell you, it's not the making. That part's really tough. But my favorite part of the making tutorials is when I put them out and I actually see people getting use from them. And that's been one of my favorite, because people have commented there that it works. This random concept that I came up with for how to help people approach melody writing if you don't have a method actually has resulted in people writing melodies. And I can't remember who it was. Someone actually shared some music with me, and they were like, yeah, I wrote this melody using your method. And it was like, cool. It was like, oh, okay, awesome. So anyway, but here's the problem with that tutorial. And if you watch the tutorial, you'll see I leapfrog the chord progression part. What I say you can find the melodic notes within your chord progression, but I sort of go like, here's a chord progression. We're just going to start here. And people have requested the companion to that, which is how to write chord progressions. And so I'm going to be working on that. Fernwood, that was a great video. Yeah, see, people, it's a hit. So people have been requesting it. I've been working on that tutorial, but I thought today on the live stream, like maybe we could kind of do it in a little more of a casual, long form hangout kind of way where we're talking. David Henerato, I love that one so much. All caps. I don't know if he's talking about that tutorial still, but we'll see. Mark Swing, man, everybody's throwing me compliments. Oh, let me just read all the compliments on the stream. No, I won't. I won't indulge my ego in that exercise. No, but so I thought we could do some chord progression thoughts today. But I feel that I sort of need to throw out a disclaimer here, in that this is going to be a lot more sort of seat of our pants, me kind of futzing around, walking a tightrope without a net a little bit in terms of trying to make music on the fly with you guys. And sometimes that goes well. Sometimes that does not go well. In fact, one of the other things I often do with Reason Studios is artist interviews, where I'll go visit an artist in the studio and we'll film together. I learned early on, I think it was actually the first artist I ever interviewed. I was coming to their studio and I said, hey, we'd love to look at some music you've done in Reason, and maybe you could walk us through, what you've done. And the guy said, I won't tell you who it is because I don't want to embarrass anybody. He's a fantastic musician, absolutely fantastic musician. But he said, he was like, oh, you know what? I'll make something on the fly. I won't have to show you something else I've done. I'll just make some music on the fly. It'll be awesome. And I was like, okay. And I showed up and set up our cameras. We did the interview. I set up by the computer. He launched Reason. And man, did he crash and burn. And I don't fault him at all for this, but man, like just, the combination of sort of the performance anxiety aspect of like I'm being filmed, and a lot of times, we tend to think when we do a lot of creative work, when you're feeling good, when you're feeling, some anxiety, you'll be like, oh my God, I've got writer's block. I never think of anything good. But when you're feeling good about what you do, you go like, oh, I'm a constant well of cool ideas. That can sort of lead to overconfidence. So I think he sort of had this thing of like, hey, I'm a good musician. I can just do this on the fly. And when you don't realize that like, yeah, you need to do it on the fly, but you also need to do it in a way where like, you're just hitting nothing but home runs. American baseball reference, sorry. Scoring goals. I don't know how your sports ball works in Europe, but you're just, everything you do just sounds good right away because you kind of don't have the natural thing which you have, which is to, sit alone in a room for an hour and kind of futz around. So anyway, he crashed and burned. It was a lesson for me. Don't, like, for the sake of the artist, don't encourage them to improv on the fly. And with that in mind, I thought today I was going to improv on the fly. I broke my own rule. I had one job, was to protect myself from embarrassment. And here I am saying I'm going to kind of make some music on the fly with you guys. But this is why I was thinking of it. I was thinking of it because, first of all, in a sort of raw, long form way, we can kind of explore some of the techniques and the ideas that I use when I'm approaching chord progressions. Matt Woodman, I think you're talking about those aha moments. Yeah, aha moments is what we have as when we're alone, and when you're in front of cameras, you don't have time to have aha moments. You just need to just be great always. So anyway, what was I saying? I can't multitask. Oh yeah, I was saying we can sort of explore some of this stuff and I can show you some of the techniques that I use in making chord progressions. But here's the other big disclaimer. I'm gonna open up to you guys here. I feel I can trust you guys. I know that I make these tutorials and I sort of, when I make a tutorial and I've fully prepped it, I speak with this authority, like I just know everything about the subject I'm about to show you. I don't. I know as much as I figured out for the tutorial. And so when it comes to chord progressions, if you are someone who knows a lot of music theory, turn off the stream. You're going to go nuts on me today because I'm sure I'm going to break so many music theory rules, and I'm going to say things like there's going to be someone could make a blooper reel of the Ryan Blows music theory montage from this. I guarantee it. I'm putting it out there up front. But there's actually, so backstory. I tend to tell people that I'm a proud jazz school dropout. I was in jazz school for guitar. My heart really wasn't in jazz per se, but it was like, go to college for electric guitar. That was my option. Sure, jazz. I lasted not a full semester. I guess officially I lasted a full semester, but that's if you don't count the fact that I just didn't show up for my finals and stuff like that. In fact, I actually, I had a fantastically embarrassing moment towards the end of my my time in college there, where I had a guitar lesson. I had a teacher, and I met weekly for him as part of my actual degree. And I kind of stopped going towards the end of the semester because I knew I wasn't coming back, And I was walking through college campus, and I saw him. And I was like, I didn't even think, my instinct was just to run. So I just started running from my teacher. This is the mindset of an 18-year-old kid. I started running from my teacher because I was like, I got to get away. And so I kind of ducked down this alley, and then I ducked behind a car, and then I looked over and I saw you still coming, and I was like, ah! And so then I just ran again, across the alley and down the street. And then I was like, if he didn't see me running from him the first time, he for sure saw me running the second time. So anyway, all that is to say, I'm a jazz school dropout. I was on a course to learn all this amazing music theory, and then I didn't. So I know just enough to say it incorrectly. And so I'm going to do that for you guys. But I'm going somewhere with this. The benefit of that is that I'm actually a strong believer in, for the most of the music that we make, we're making beats and pop songs, electronic music, hip hop beats, these sort of things. For that sort of stuff, we need to know some, or it helps to know some basic theory concepts. But this idea that you need to climb this huge mountain in order to be able to do anything, that is not true. So I know enough to get the job done, and I thought I could show you some of the aha moments, as our chat mentioned, that I had along the way to start understanding methodologies that I can use in writing chord progressions. So with that in mind, that's kind of what we're going to get to today. I hope everybody has officially settled in. Mark, I'm going to look at the comments here, just check in. I'm going to be doing a little more extra of this today because I don't have a guest that I'm talking to. So Mark Swing says, music is usually best when you just run on emotion. So yeah, Mark, thank you for teeing me up here to kind of explain something. So this is how I used to do. I'm going to grab my guitar. What did I just do? Okay. Feels like something went wrong. I hit this probably. So, yeah, I feel when I used to write chord progressions, I did exactly what Mark is saying. I followed my emotion, or I would just kind of goof around and find chords that go nice together. So I might take a chord like, we'll go with F major 7. You could do F2, but I'll do that because it's kind of a nice, pretty chord, right? And then from there, where do I go? I had no idea. So I would just guess. I would just go, okay, no. Okay, those two go together, kind of. It's a little, now, yeah. Okay. No. Sure. Okay, so I'd go, okay, those are my chords. F major 7, A minor, C, G. Okay, so that's how I wrote chord progressions. Here's the problem. There is no methodology. That's a big banjo, says Stefan. There's no methodology to that. I was just, every single time I was guessing. If I went to write another chord progression. Okay, let's do it again. Let's see, what could I, maybe? Okay, so I'll do that's an A sus2. It's such a pretty sounding A. Okay, so I'll do this. I'm gonna do that. So I'd sort of find my way. That worked. It worked for years. And actually, you end up writing some nice chord progressions. So Mark, you're not wrong. Follow your instincts, sure. But there's really no methodology to that. And so for me, here's where chord progressions went from being a complete guesswork thing where I would just sort of, try one chord, then try another one until I sort of heard something. Masufani says trial and error is the best way to learn anything. Sometimes true. Anyway, I had my biggest epiphany in chord progressions starting to make sense as a methodology actually came from, I know you guys, I know you're going to be excited. I'm not going to play it. Don't get too excited. But it came from my entry into this world. When I started getting into the sort of the bluegrass and the Americana, mountain music, all that sort of stuff, that stuff is written with incredibly simple chord progressions. So, in fact, here, it's just me today. Let's just keep winging it here. So, Benjamin, what is the best key for an R&B song? Okay, hang on, wait, I want to. Now I gotta address this. Benjamin asks, what is the best key for R&B song progressions? Benjamin, there is no best key. Just not, there is no such thing. Well, no, let me reverse that. The best key for an R&B song is whatever key your singer sounds best in. A lot of times singers will say, oh, this is my key. That's not true. Singers don't have a particular key that they sound best in as a general rule. I'm not a key of A singer. But for each song, a singer's voice will sound significantly great in a particular key. And so there's a producer out there named, I'm seeing the thing, no, don't put it back, the banjo. There's a producer that I've spoken with, and I know, and I don't know him. We've interacted. His name is Guy Sigsworth, fantastic producer. You should look up the stuff that he's done because it's like Seal and Bjork and Imogen Heap. He was part of Frou Frou. He's done Britney Spears records, Alanis Morissette, Enrique Iglesias. He's done like a ton of stuff. But anyway, what he says is that when he meets with a singer to do a song, the first thing they do is they actually move the key around and they try where it does something interesting to their voice. And, he has said he has never failed to be amazed at how the difference between the key of C and the key of like C sharp can sound radically different for a particular singer. So anyway, so to answer your question, the right R&B key is the key that sounds great for that singer and that song at that time. But anyway, okay, so let's so to talk about chord progressions. So my first sort of aha unlocking thing was hanging out playing these very traditional songs. Ryan, keeping it real tonight. I suppose so. So I'd play these songs. Let's see. There's these really simple ones. Let me pull up okay, yeah. I'm going to see. This is what happens when you have just me. I'm going to subject you all to some old time music. But there are some songs that are incredibly simple, and there's only 2 chords in the song. So some of these, if you guys know traditional American songs, there's ones like, let me look at a list of 2 chord songs. Okay, My Home's Across the Blue Ridge Mountains. My home's across the Blue Ridge Mountains. My home's across the Blue Ridge Mountains. My home's across the Blue Ridge Mountains, and I'm never gonna see you anymore. So I don't know if you can. I know some of you don't play guitar, and so you won't recognize here. But if you see, I've got 1 chord here and 1 chord here. It's just 2 chords, right? Little birdie, little birdie, little birdie, come sing to me your song. A long time to stay here, and a long time to be gone. So what started happening to me is I was like, oh, okay, just 2 chords. And then there'd be other songs like, what would be a good example of 3 chord songs? Let's do say my bark of life was tossing down, troubled wheel of time. So now you see we've got one chord here, and then this other chord. So these two chords are the same as the ones I've been playing before, and now I've tossed in a third chord. When first I saw your smiling face and youth was in its prime, oh, I'll never, there's that new chord again, never forget wherever I roam, wherever you may be. You recognize all these chords. Wherever I have had a friend, you've been a friend to me. So, okay. This is not the Ryan live stream concert. But my point there was that I started noticing all these songs have the same chords. I mean, I don't know how else to say it. They had the same chords. So, see, Ryan puts on cowboy boots. Oh no, maybe Tony's putting on cowboy boots. Yeah, if you got your cowboy boots, put them on. So anyway, I started noticing that all these tunes had the same chords. And then I started noticing that I would go to these events, I'd go to these jams and hang out with people playing, and they would all be talking about, okay, this song is 1-4-5. Okay, this is a 1-5 song. Okay, this one goes to the 4 in the chorus. And they started talking in a different system than I was aware of. And that was the biggest pong eye-opener for me, okay? Because, I'll show you. I'm going to show you guys something called the Nashville number system. And I know, now it being called the Nashville number system after having subjected you to some mountain music, you're probably getting to the point of going, how does this relate to my hip-hop beat making and my pop music production? It does. It really does. So I'm going to show you guys the Nashville number system. If anybody knows the Nashville number system, give me a yeah, I know it in the comments. If you don't, then absolutely let me know as well. Okay. Here is how the Nashville number system works. It is super easy. It was actually created by, it's called the Nashville number system. It was created by the session cats in Nashville. They would go in to do these songs, and they started writing out chord charts for songs, and they were writing them out using numbers instead of chords. It's a super simple system. Let me show you how it works. Actually, you know what? In order to show you that, I'm going to make, let me just get a little piano up here. I don't hear piano. Why don't I hear? Oh, there it is. Great. Okay. I'm going to turn up the volume a little bit. Okay. Hopefully you guys, I hope you guys hear that. I hear it. If I hear it, I think you guys hear it. Okay. Let's switch cameras for a second and let me make some adjustments here. Let's see what do I hear. Oh boy. Ryan's on his own today. Yeah, boy. Oh man, this is gonna go weird. Let's call that good enough. Okay, so the Nashville number system basically assigns a number to each note of a scale. In our case, we're gonna talk about the major scale. Okay, so let's talk about the easiest scale there is, that's C major. It's the easiest key because it's all the white keys. So you got C. That in the Nashville number system, that is 1. The next note in the C major scale is D. That would be, if anyone knows how to count, 2. Then you got 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Well, it's actually 1. Sorry, it's not 8. You got 7 unique tones in the major scale. C, D, E, F, G, A, B, and then back to C, right? And so you got those are the note names. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay? That's all the Nashville number system is. And you might say, Ryan, why does that matter even a little bit. And this is why it matters, because when you remove the actual note names, you suddenly open up this key, it's like the question of what's the best key for R&B. If you're thinking in keys, you're going to think about chord progressions using, well, here, let me show you. I'll take one of the songs that I did. Let's take the My Bark. Wait, do I want to do that? It's gonna be really high. I don't know if I can get up the high. My bark. Okay, it's gonna be unpleasant, but we're gonna do it. Okay, so if I'm playing that song I did here, my bark of life was tossing down my troubled wheel of time. If I wanted to move that into the key of C, let's say I'm working with a singer and their voice is better in C, mine will not be. They want to do it up here. My bark of life. Now, I could transpose it by thinking, okay, well, let's see. G is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 semitones away from C. So I'd have to change every chord by 5 semitones. Okay, so G, okay, we know that's gonna go to C. Then I was playing a C chord. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that's an F. Okay, and then the other chord was, I was playing a D. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that's an A. Okay, cool. So now is it an A? Oh no, sorry, it's a G. Derp. Okay, so you've got a C, an F, and a G. Those are the chords in my new transposed key. My bark of life was tossing down my troubled wheel of time. That's a little too high there. But here's the thing though. If I'm thinking in Nashville numbers, let's do that same song. We're gonna think of it as Nashville numbers. I'm in the key of G. I'm playing a G chord. What is my Nashville number? For the G chord in the key of G, it is a, say it with me, in a 40-second delay, it is a 1 chord, right? Then, we're going to my next chord. My next chord is a C. Okay, well, I'm gonna use the notes of the G major scale. We got 1, 2, 3, 4. When I hit the 4th note, I've landed on the C. So a C chord is the 4 chord in the key of G. So I've got a 1, 4. Then I go back down my bark, 1 chord to the 4, 4 chord, back to the 1. And then I go to a D chord, okay? D, let's work it out. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's my D. So the 5 chord is a D in the key of G. Key of G, got my chord. I'm watching numbers fly in on the chat there. Let me know if this is making sense, okay? So I've got my 1 chord in the key of G. I've got my 4 chord in the key of G. And then, now, this is where the 1, 4, 5s get great. If I wanted to transpose that, I don't need to think of the actual major scale semitone transposition. I can think, and I get in the habit now in these jams of thinking, what's your pre-map, Ryan? I'm not sure what that question means. You get in the habit of thinking in terms of 1, 4, 5. So the 1 chord in the key of C you'll learn is 1. The 4 chord in the key of C is an F. The 5 chord in the key of C is a G. And so without thinking, I can start transposing these songs really easily. When I learned the 1s, the 4s, and the 5s in all the keys, you can do really quick transpositions. So, my bark of life was tossing down. My bark of life was tossing down. That's the key of A. We'll go to the key of D. My bark of life was tossing down my troubled wheel of time. Key B. My bark of life was tossed. Whoops. My bark of life was tossing down my troubled wheel of time. So you're able to move through all these transpositions really easily. Now, why does that matter? This is why it matters for you guys. It matters because when you start thinking of chord progressions as numbers, you start realizing just how similar chord progressions are. How many songs use the same chord progressions? Like the same chord progressions. I'm not saying like, oh, that one's, I mean, there's songs that are a chord off here or there, but there's like a gazillion songs that use the same chord progressions, and they're not that complicated. These chord progressions are not, they're not rocket science. They're not what I used to do. They're not sitting alone and just following some kind of gut instinct. They're actually, it's everything. This is something I came to believe pretty strongly in, is that there's a time and place for awesome, clever chord progressions where you're going to go to the chord progression convention and they're going to give you a Lifetime Achievement Award for the coolest chord progressions ever. But most of the time that we're writing songs, it's everything we do on top of the chord progressions that makes or breaks us, that makes us unique, that makes our song interesting. The chord progression doesn't have to be the source for your groundbreaking, your groundbreaking music writing. Ryan sews his own clothes. I don't know what you guys are talking about in the chat. So like, one of the greatest, talk about three chord songs. One of the greatest songwriters in sort of modern, I'm going to use the modern term loosely to include the last sort of 50 years of rock and pop. Tom Petty would write songs, and he could write a 3-chord song and make it sound totally interesting, not because of the chords. He wasn't breaking new ground on chords. He was using those same 1, 4, and 5. There's a gazillion 1, 4, 5 songs. Like Louie Louie. 1, 4, 5. There's a gazillion of them. Like, but he would write these songs, and somehow it felt fresh again. And the reason it felt fresh is because of everything he was doing on top of it. So I'll show you what I mean. We probably all know that. I mean, even if you're not like the world's biggest Tom Petty fan, she's a good girl, crazy about Elvis or whatever. Well, Elvis loves horses and her boyfriend too, right? That is 1, 4, 4, 1, 5. 1, 4, 5. Another Tom Petty song. Hang on, I gotta find it. It's not in this key. Wait, hang on. It's gonna get weird. I'm gonna put a capo on to try and help my brain find the right note. You belong among the wildflowers. You belong in a boat out at sea. Sail away. Right? So, what do you got there? You've got 4, 1, 5 to the 1. We're in the key of, we're in the key of, what are we in, F? But I'm actually playing with a capo. I'm playing as if I'm in the key of C. We won't get into that today. But that's just the 4 chord. The 5, 1, 4, 1, 5, 1, 4, 1. That's the whole song. Somebody says, Michael Romero says, and he won a Grammy for it. Yeah. I think. Or is he talking about Free Falling? I'm not quite sure. My guitar just fell down. But beautiful song. It is a beautiful song, and it literally does those chords 4 1 5 to the 1 through the whole song. It's the whole song. It's the verse. It's the chorus. It's the whole thing. So the first thing that happened when I started unlocking these sort of aha moments, when I started understanding that Nashville Numbers is a way to think about chord progressions agnostic of the key. I don't have to think in the key. I can think of the chord progression structure. And the other aha moment was that some of the greatest songs ever written have been using the same chord progressions, and it's not my job to reinvent the wheel. I'm not gonna write a better song. I'm sorry to myself on this one. I'm not gonna write a better song than Tom Petty. I'm not gonna write a better song than Wildflowers. And he did it using the chords that the Carter family was recording with in 1927 in Bristol, Virginia. Some of the first recordings ever made. Or first sort of commercial recordings. He's using their chords. And so I am Drabbit wearing a NoFX t-shirt singing Tom Petty. I'm a man of culture. Well, I suppose so. But anyway, so, okay, now I won't dwell too much. I might pick up the guitar again because I'm a guitarist. That's how I think. But we're going to go to the reason side of things now and start looking at that same concept. So I'm going to bring up reason here. And wait, let me, maybe I should check in with these things. Ryan, sorry for off topic. Have you made your acoustic cylinders? No, Mark. Okay. Well, let me answer this. This came up once before. I didn't make them. You can make them. I bought them on eBay. These are made by a company called ASC. I think it's Applied. I can't remember the name. ASC though. And they are called tube traps. They're the original official version of these sound absorption cylinders. You can make them. There's tutorials out there where people get fiberglass and subject themselves to black lung syndrome by breathing a bunch of glass, making their own. I didn't do that. But anyway. So what was I saying? I was going to look and just make sure there's anything else I need to look at. Let's see. Anything else in the chats I need to talk about? Mark, talking about Tom Petty again. He sings the root notes of the chords. Very simple songs, but cool. Yes. EB, Ryan, my boy, tell me the name of your mic preamp. I'm using a very over-engineered signal path today, just because I'm having fun with the new compressor I built this weekend. So I'm going into a Neve 1084. And then from the Neve 1084 preamp, no EQ, it's kind of, what did Neve call when it was just the preamp stage only? It wasn't, technically it's not a 1084. Well, here, I'll show you. Here, watch. So if you go down here, down there, I've got I've got two channels of 1084, and then it goes up into this guy. That's the thing I built this weekend. And so yeah, that's my signal chain. Most other weeks, I'm not using anything that fancy. I'm usually coming through a more simple preamp. But anyway, okay. Yes, RME Fireface 800. That is my interface. That's my sound card interface. I've had that for 15 years. 15 years, and it hasn't broken. I swear, it has made me so brand loyal to those guys because it just won't break. Like I almost like it'd be fun to get a new interface, except that this one still works, so I just use it. Anyway, okay, let's jump over to the reason side of things here, and I do this. So, okay. When I am doing chord progressions, if you haven't noticed by now, I am a guitarist by nature. And by being a guitarist by nature, I'm not a piano player. In fact, one of the classes I was enjoying but also dropped out of when I was a jazz school dropout was the rudimentary piano. So like I learned basic chords, but I'm very much a hunt and peck kind of piano player. So for me, when Reason came out with Scales and Chords, it was like, oh my God, thank you, because now I can sort of do this in a kind of one finger way. Let me make some adjustments here. Can I do this? No. Oh, wait a second. Did I lose I think I lost my camera. Hang on. We gotta make sure this works. So this is my part of my flying by the seat of my pants process here is that I'm using my iPhone as a second webcam. I was going to get another webcam, but I don't know if you've heard, there's a global pandemic going on. And because of that, there's kind of something of been a run on webcams, and you can't get them. So when I was preparing for this one, I decided I would go ahead and make get an app to run my phone as a webcam. Now what I'm noticing, this is gonna be fun, is enormous latency on that camera. Yay! Oh, maybe I've got latency on everything now. Oh yeah, I sure do. Oh boy. Stream software, man. Well, it is what it is, right? Okay, so anyway, so when Scales and Chords came out, I love Scales and Chords because it let me work one-fingered and work on chord progressions. So let's, I'm in the key of C major here. And remember what I was saying about the Nashville number system? Now that we've got Scales and Chords activated, as I play through the key of C major, the Scales and Chords is going to do all of the, I think the technical term is diatonic chords for me, and that's just a fancy elitist way of saying that it's the chords which are correct for that key. So when you we're getting to the limits of my music theory here, so I'm gonna try and figure out the right way to say this to you guys. Chords in a particular there we go. In a particular key, certain chords are major chords. In C major, the one chord is a C major. But other chords, like, let's go with the 6. No, that's the 7. The 6th chord. Those are, certain ones are minor. So you've got, and Scales and Chords does the conversion for you. So you've got, I'm pressing just one note, a C, and it's playing the C major triad for me. If I go to the next note, the 2 chord, it knows correctly to make that a D minor for me. If I go to the 3 chord, minor, major, major, minor, and then, this is a subject of great controversy. Technically speaking, based on music theory, technically speaking, the 7 chord should be, I believe, what's called a half diminished chord. Half diminished chords are not 100% musically useful to us in the styles that we make. And so the brains over in Stockholm decided to sort of fudge that one. It's not the correct musical theory half diminished chord that would be what's considered the diatonically correct chord. It's a more useful chord. And it's I don't know. I'm not hip to the whys of that. I just know that when I'm in C major, that's a far more useful little move than if it actually was a half diminished chord. So, you know what it is? It's a flat. It's not even just half diminished. It's a flat 5 half diminished. It's a weird chord. Yeah, I mean it's a nice chord, but it's a weird chord for the style of music we make. So anyway, okay. Now, key of C. We're gonna go. If I'm gonna be writing a chord progression, if I'm gonna be writing a chord progression, let me start kind of connecting some dots here. If I'm going to be writing a chord progression, and the and I'm going to work within this concept that 1, 4, and 5 make up the fence posts of so many great songs, and so I'm going to work within those notes. Let me find my 1, 4, 5s in this key. Well, in the key of C, it's really easy because I can count up. So 1, 2, 3, 4. There we go. That's my 4. It's key of F. Or sorry, F chord. And then the next one is 5. So there's my 1, 4, 5. Okay. Now, before I even get to, I don't have to, if I'm going to write a chord progression, I don't have to write a, oh, wait a second. Let me just look at the comments. How do I make new scales and chords on scales and chords? Oh, I could show you that. If I don't come back to that, remind me. So, if I'm going to write a chord progression using C, F, and G, I can actually, I should say C, F, or G. C, F, or G? No, that sounds wrong. Anyway, I'm going to write a, I'm going to start with just 2 of those. Instead of doing a 1, 4, and 5 song, why don't I just use 2 of them? I showed you in the very beginning that there's all those traditional songs, you know, that, here, let's do them again. Any chance to play? Wait, where's my pick? Here we go. Oh, God, what have I done? I'm going back to old Kentucky, there to see my Linda Lou. That's the 5 chord. I'm going back to old Kentucky, where the skies, 5 chord, are always blue. That's just 2 chords, 1 and 5. Just back and forth, 1 and 5, 1 and 5, 1, 5, 1, 5, 1, 5, 1, 5. That's the whole thing. Okay? Now, so I could do that. Let's go back to reason. I could write a chord progression, and my chords would be 1 and 5. Okay? However, this comes from listening to songs and experimenting with songs. If I'm going to write a 2 chord song, the 5 chord, which you might have noticed from my foray into Appalachian mountain music, the 1-5 songs tend to have a certain older sound to them. Is it always the wrong choice? No. Is it sometimes the wrong choice? You be the judge. But if I'm going to make a 2 chord progression, a song out of a 2 chord progression, I might start not 1, 5, 1, 5. I might go to 1, 4, 1, 4. So here's 1, and then the 4 was F. Okay. Now there's a gazillion songs that are just 1 and 4. Let's go ahead and make some music that's just 1, 4 based. Okay, let's see here. Remember when I said I learned a lesson a long time ago to never try and make music on the fly, and here I am, I'm going to do it. Let's change the device. That's kind of cool. Okay, let's do that. Let's put that down. I think I might need to, is my sound going to stay on? Yeah. I could just keep doing that, or I could loop it. Okay, I'm going to quantize that. And I'm going to just shorten that up. Shorten that up. Let's make this a little bigger so people can see it. Okay, there we go. We'll move that back here. Okay, so there we go. We've got the 4 chord and the 1 chord. Now, I remember what I said. The chord progression is not necessarily the thing that's going to win us. Oh, thank you, Stefan. Stefan texts me and says, that's got a seventh note added. What have I done? Have I left? Thank you. It did sound rather full and lush. Oh, it's the preset. That preset has a harmonic in there. Let's change it. There we go. We can go to that, or should we try something else? Thank you, Stefan. Oops. Oh wait, you guys should be watching this. There we go. Now I'm just flipping presets here. What grabs me? Does anything grab me? I mean, maybe. I'm gonna, you know what, here. Let's move this up an octave. We'll see what that does. This, maybe if people don't know, let me just throw out a little quick tip here. When you're transposing, when you're moving things in Reason, when you want to move multiple notes, so you can obviously click and drag. It's a lovely sound. But you can also, if I double click the note here in the, I should know what this thing's called here. This little toolbar thingy. If I hit plus 12, see they all go up 12 semitones automatically. Or if I hit minus 7, they would all go down 7 semitones. So I'm going to move it up an octave. So I hit plus 12. Cool. Okay. Now let's add the stuff on top. One thing I'm going to try and do is, I like the little initial delay that's on there, but I'm going to add my own. Yeah. Okay. We'll throw, should we throw something else on there? What can we do? Let's put a synchronous on it. Sidechain it? And let's put some drums on it. Oh, that's kind of cool on its own already. Should I just make quick choices? I'll just put that on there. Let's filter that. Let's go filter. What should I do? Bandpass background? Let's try it. Interesting, but no. Let me just roll my own here. And let's do this. Can I see if I can go to frequency here? Turn this down. Tempo sync, good. Let's try a full measure. Two full measures. Okay. Now, okay, so we've got our 2-chord progression, and I'm just catching up on comments while I'm talking to you guys. So yeah, so you've got we got a 2-chord progression, and then from there we can go about building our melodies, our hooks, our writing words. We can do all those sort of things. So let's, well, to keep it simple, I'll put up a piano. But you know what I'll do here? I'll do this one. Do you guys mess around with this? I feel like this one may not get enough love. The Struck Grand piano. It's the default sound in Pangea, and it's like it's a piano, but it's played like sort of like a dulcimer. It's like you're striking the strings with an object that's not a felt hammer, so it sounds a little harsher. So okay, let me do this. I'm gonna throw a scales and chords player on this one just to lock me into the, I mean, it's not like I need to be locked in for the key of C major, but I will anyway. I'm going to turn off chords mode. Okay. And I'm going to go about figuring out a melody on top of my 2-chord progression. Let's make it a little more dramatic. Hang on. We're going to go up. Oh, I should probably, here. Let me give you guys something more to look at than just. Okay. Now we'll play. Okay, so maybe I'll throw something like that down. Oh, no, I didn't go too far. Okay, let me go in here, make a couple of changes to that. Quantize it because. We'll go back down here. Okay. Now I gotta copy some stuff because I didn't play long enough. Snap to bar. And let's move that over here. There we go. Is that correct? Something looks weird. Let's find out. I mean, not how I meant to line it up, but it's not wrong. I'm not mad at it. So now let's do, well, let me go back to the comments here. Okay. Very orbital a la 1993. Scott, you know, let me tell you, people call me Mr. Orbital circa 1993. That is my nickname. Actually, I'm not, but you're right. It's not unlike that. So one thing you'll notice in the melody that I'm doing there, and this is true of chord progressions, particularly 1 and 4 chord progressions where you're just alternating between two notes, is that I'm doing a lot of repeated motifs. So that thing there. That makes up most of my melody, but the chord changes underneath. And the reason that works is for music theory reasons, which I will badly explain here by saying that the 1 chord and the 4 chord share a lot of common tones. So the notes, we're in the key of C. The notes of a C chord are C and, oh boy, I got to think of my C, E, and G. And the 4 chord is an, wait, they're not the same. Is it the 1 and the 5? All right, someone correct me if I'm wrong here. Some of those notes, maybe it's the 1 and the 5, have very similar common. The point is it works. I don't know. Put this in the blooper reel. Anyway. Okay, so that is the 1-4 chord progression. You could spend the rest of the month writing 1-4 chord progressions and songs based off of them. So, wait, Mark is saying, Ryan, go. It's a very, it's an odd choice of a comment. Go with the flow. Thank you. Okay. Now, okay, I want to move things along. You could write 1,000,001-4 songs. You could write 1,000,001-4-5 songs. But we are in the key of C major, and one thing you'll notice is that, oh wait, Joel coming in here to save me. All of the 1, 4, and 5 only share 1 note, except 4 and 5 share none. Okay, trust Joel. Joel knows more than me. Yes, Tom Rodrigo, Struck Piano reminds me of Massive Attack's Teardrop. I could tell a whole story about Massive Attack's Teardrop, how that changed my entire musical outlook in an instant. I won't tell the story now, but if we ever do just a random Q&A and anybody wants to hear that, I will bore everybody else with that story. But we're writing in the key of C major, and I wanted to talk a little bit about the key of minor keys, because we often write, especially like EDM writes in minor keys a lot, and even, you know, some of the like the hip hop and trap beats and stuff, they'll work in minor keys. Sometimes more often than not in minor keys, and that can be a good thing or a bad thing. That's not always a good thing. I'll just throw that out there. I think major keys get sometimes a little bit overlooked because people might find it hard to make them feel like, you know, and a major key often feels really happy if you kind of just bumble into it and do the super major things. But like, that isn't necessarily a happy thing we made. But it's in a major key. So don't ignore major keys. But let's talk about minor keys. What's going on here? Massive Attack's just generally brilliant. Yeah. I'm not quite sure. Okay. Well, yeah. Yes. Another time, another stream. That is correct. It's not really a long story, and it's not that interesting of a story. It's just that, yeah, it's a good tune. The Too Long Didn't Read, Massive Attack's Teardrop is a great tune. Okay. So we've talked about these major keys, and we've talked about the 1 and the 4 and the 5. Oh, wait. You know what? I'm going to do this on guitar. Before I leave major keys, I wanted to talk about, so we talked about these fence posts of 1, 4, and 5. And this was another one of the big aha moments for me is that when you want to depart, when you want to do something more than just 1 or 4 or 5, you're not locked into those. If I'm in the key, what am I in? Oh, I'm in C here, just with a capo. I'm not locked into only using 1, 4, and 5, but the realization for me was that if I think about 1, 4, and 5 adjacent, they're neighbors, then I start figuring out how to incorporate those other, the other chords within the key. So, for example, I'm out of tune. Can you handle me being a little out of tune? I don't know if I can. Okay, I'll deal with it. So if I've got a 1 chord here, that's my 5. Now, what is that? Ooh, that wasn't one we've covered before. So I've got my 1 chord, 5. Now, if I wanted to throw in some spice, I can go adjacent to my 5. And what's adjacent to 5? Well, 6 or 4. Well, so 4 we know. So let's go. Now I'm going to go down from 5 to 4. That's 4 to 1, right? But instead of that, I'm going to go up. I'm going to go from 5 up. Here it comes. 5, 6. Now I can pick up back with the 4. And now all of a sudden I've written a 4 chord progression. 1, 2 to 5. Here comes to the 6. So I didn't have to go, in my old method of working out chord progressions, I would have just have to futz around until I found that. But instead I can think, oh, I'm gonna move adjacent to what is the 5. Or we could do, let's go adjacent to the 1. What's adjacent to 1? It's 2. And then, so those, all I'm doing there is I'm just moving up 2, 3, 4, 5. You can just move up through these chords to write your progressions, but you're hitting your fence posts. So I've got so let's start on the 4 chord. Let's move to the 1. Let's go to the 7. We're gonna do a flat 7. Always adjacent. 1 chord, go either way. Up to the 2, down to the 7. 5 chord, up to the 6, down to the 4. And you can start building these progressions that are bigger than just 1, 4, 5 or 1, 4. You can start, you know, we did a 1, 5, 6, 4. You can notice, by the way, I think now in these Nashville numbers, yeah. Wait a second. Ingvi. Hang on. Is there breaking news going on here now? I gotta just check something out here. I can't tell if there's. Okay. Somebody posted a comment that sounded like there was a musician death, which would have been sad. Okay. Okay. So I just wanted to point out that sort of adjacent movement because we're going to get into some of that as well when we talk about minor chords. Let's talk about minor chords, and then I've been waffling on. So, I mean, Joel, did I hear a borrowed Mixolydian chord? Yeah, I'm not going to get into the modal stuff you did by using the flat 7. It's yes, Joel. Joel gets the gold star for being the music theory minded in the chat, and I thank you for that, Joel. So, oh wait, there was a comment up there I wanted to see. How would 1 5 3 4 fit into this? Oh, minor 3, 1 5 minor 3 4. I don't know what this is. That's 1 5 minor 3. Oh, okay. We've probably heard that a bunch of times. I can't think of a song that used that. But yet again, that's that same adjacent movement. So we're going 1 and then 5. This is I'm referencing David Wood's question. We're going to 1 to 5, and then we're going to the 4 chord. Again, these big fence posts, 1 5 4, but we're moving through the adjacent chord, the 3 into the 4. So 3 isn't like the one of these fence post ultra common chords, but it's still it helps us move into one of them. Here, I'm gonna go to the reason for a second, so we're not only talking in guitar terms. And let's go here, this guy. Okay. If we did the 1 5 3 1 5 3 4. It's a nice progression. I don't know if David is this is that the Access of Awesome chord progression, David? Is that what you've given me there? Or is this is that a different one? I know there's if you guys haven't seen the Access of Awesome video, it was like one of the early viral videos, these guys, where they ran through like all the hits of the last 40 years and how they all use the same chord progression. I can't remember which chord progression it is. Maybe it's that. It's a 4 chord progression, and it's got one of those. Yeah, it's a 1 4 5 E type progression with a little extra minor spice in there. So okay, let's talk about minor keys because they're a little different. They don't follow the 1 4 5 thing. So let me bring them up. Joel, apologies in advance when we're about to get into some dumbed down music theory, and I'm not dumbing it down for you guys. I'm dumbing it down for me. But okay, let's jump over to reason for a second here, and let's change to a minor key. Okay, and let's actually, you know what? Here, I'm going to move this out of the way, and we'll just play our. I think our 1 and. Will this still work? No, it's gonna be a little different. So, what you'll notice is it still works. It's different because we're actually in a different key. And so the chords are different. The diatonic chords are different. I won't get into the concept of relative minors here because that just gets into this like lofty thing, and the more you come to understand it, the more you come to realize it's like the Matrix, like there is no major key and minor key, they're the same. But for our purposes, someone says, after dumbing it down for you, Ryan, could you dumb that down again for me? Yeah, exactly. For our purposes today, we're going to think of minor keys and major keys as different because they do tend to sound different in their basic form, and we tend to work in them as specified major or minor keys. Here. Again, guitar. Ryan plays guitar. I haven't done, because what else you do? Because my world and all my little epiphanies come from these songs, that sort of Americana music that works in major keys. Most of my sort of aha moments with 1s and 4s and 5s and 1/4 songs and where you can put in a 6 minor and it's a little extra spice, all that stuff comes through the major key thing. The minor keys, there are progressions in the minor keys that are also common progressions. So let's say we'll go, I guess F. We're gonna go in F minor. The one strategy, I'm gonna put this when I do the tutorial that I do. One of the strategies of chord progression writing is that you depart from and return to a tonal center when you're writing chord progressions. And in minor keys, I tend to find that to be usually, not always, more linear movement. So, for example, if I'm starting in the, I hope I'm not about to say a bunch of wrong things. I don't think I am. If I'm starting on the 1 chord, which in this case is a F minor, I can move one direction or another, forward or backward, and it's a more valid self-sustaining chord progression on its own. So watch, like F minor, right? Or I could go linear another step away. I go here, and then I'm gonna go down. What's the flat 7? And then I think that's the 6. Okay, so we're starting in a minor, the 1, we're departing down, and we're coming back to our tonal center, which is dire straight chords. That's right. Yeah, that's right. Boo-doo-doo-doo. Yes, that is the dire straits chords. So. What rack extension am I holding? Yuhani wants to know. Yeah, that's a Martin rack extension. So, okay, let's move over to Reason. Now, here's the thing with that. The concept of moving... Oh, let's see. Let me jump here. The concept of moving one step away and coming back with 2 chord songs, minor keys. I'm going to stay in F because we were in F before. Minor keys with only 2 chords is a great place if you are making trap, hip hop, that kind of stuff. This is a great place to be. Let's get not this sound. For now, I'll just put a, should I just put a radical piano on here? I'll leave everything else the same. I got some distortion. Is that actual distortion, or is that distortion I'm adding? Yeah, okay, that's the echo. Okay, so I'll just leave that up. I got a little delay on there and stuff. Let me change my. Hang on a second. Have I failed to? No. Okay, you guys are looking at Reason. That's good. Sometimes I forget to switch cameras, and you're looking at me, and that's a bum out for all of us. Okay. So now let me pull open so you can see the chords here. Okay, so I'm gonna just play the 1 chord, and then I'm gonna go down. I'm gonna depart away from my tonal center, which I'm in F minor, and I'm playing in F minor. I'm gonna go down 1 note. I'm gonna bring open. Hang on a second. I'm gonna bring open this thing where you can see my fingers as well. So that's all I'm doing. This is a 2 2 finger or 1 finger if you just do this. Chord progression. Okay. Let me put that down. This will be fine. Okay. 2 chords. That's it. And let me get rid of this guy. Let's put a little loop supply. Oh, you know what? Here, let's do a trap. Should we do trap or? Yeah, we'll do trap. Let's turn on this. Sure. Drop this in here. Let's just go for it now. Should I do a Dirty South? Oh, don't search like that. Oh, there it is. Cool. Okay. Let's add a little distortion. Do the old, let's change the pitch bend range. All right. I'm distracting myself by kind of getting into the creation part. 2 chords, minor, tonal center, departing one direction away. Could we go up the other direction? Probably. Should we go up the other direction? Let's just see what happens. Is this going to be stupid? I don't know. Nope. Whoops, I'm not on my bass anymore. All right, now I'm getting sucked into it again. Point is, yes, tonal center, 1 up, tonal center, 1 down, 2 chords. You've written a chord progression with just 2 chords. And again, this goes back to everything I've been saying from the top, which is that it's everything you do on top of this. It's the bars that your rapper might be putting on top of that, or it's the hook that you might write for, the melody. So we needn't get hung up on the chord progression side of things. We can literally work with these chord progressions that have been done time and time again. And in fact, maybe we'll go to this and then we'll probably wrap up because we've been at this a little while. In the major key, you've got that 1-4-5 sort of fence post things, and you can sort of like the one that was it David, I think, suggested, the 1-5-6 minor, no, 1-5-3 minor to the 4. There's things like that in the minor key world. Chord progressions, which are common and on a million tunes. One of those is, I wish I could write it down somewhere. Someone write this down when I say it. I think I'm going to go off memory here, so let's hope that I'm not wrong, but we'll test it out. We'll remember if I'm right. I think it's the special Nashville number formula here is 1-6 minor 3. Hang on. Don't quote me on this. I'm going to actually do a quick little Google. That's right. Yep, that's right. 1 6. Yeah, I was right. Okay, 1 6 3 7. Watch. You'll see how it works. Let's get rid of the stuff that I've been doing. We'll delete that. Oh, wait, you're watching me again. Hang on. Let's go back here. Okay, let's delete that. Oh, let's just delete everything. Let's live dangerously. Pull that out. Okay. And let's... Well, for now, let's just do a piano again. And I'm going to select... Where's that one? Downright. I like downright. It's so nice and soft. Okay. And we're going to go to players, throw in a scales and chords. Let's go, just because we haven't been there yet, let's go to A minor. No, let's go to C minor, so I don't have to think. No, let's go to A minor. A minor is actually the one I don't need to think in. Okay. So, A minor, what did I say? It was the common one that gazillion songs are written off of is 1 6 3 4. And that looks like this. There's 1. Oh, wait. I got to bring open my... Give you guys my hands. So we go. There's our 1 chord. And then we can count up again. Because we're in A minor, we don't have to worry about the black keys. 1 2 3 4 5 6. Is that right? That looks... No, that's 7. So 1 2 3 4 5 6. There it is. Okay. So you got 1 6, then 3. So we got 1 2 3, and then 4. Is that right? That feels wrong. That doesn't feel right. Hang on a second. Is that actually 1 6 3? Oh, it's 3 7 3. I'm sorry. Don't quote me. 1 6 3 7. Oh boy, I knew something was wrong there. So you got 1 6 3, and then 7 is actually going 1 below the A to the G. So, whoops. 1 6 3 7. Let's put that down for a second. Let me change my key. Oh, sorry, my tempo. I didn't have my click track on. Let's do it again. Okay. Minor chord progression. Highly common. 1. So we're going 1 chord, 6 chord, 3 chord, 7 chord. Okay, now I want to show. God, we're running out of time, guys. But I would love to show you. Okay, I am gonna show you this. When you're working with chord progressions in Reason, so guide advice number 1. Steal from the best. Take these common chord progressions that we have. This 1 6 3 7 in a minor key. Write tunes with that. Write tunes with that. Just the first one we did in the minor key, where you got the 1, and then you're just going to move down 1 note and back up. write tunes with that. Write tunes that are 1 and 4, only 1 4 1 4 in a major key. See what you can do with those. But the second part of the how can we make this feel less like just if you look at the I'm gonna bring open Reason here. If you take a look at the scales and chords, what you'll notice is that scales and chords is creating these, see these things? I hope you see my mouse moving. Yeah, you do, okay. These are called minor triads, or not minor, they're called triads. And they're triads because there's 3 notes in them. And you can see that they all kind of move, if you've noticed the form is pretty similar. It's like 1 note, skip a note, another note, skip a note. They kind of hold that form, right? That is because scales and chords is playing the sort of the classic first inversion of the chord. How can I explain this quickly without getting into a big tangent? If I play a C major chord, wait, let me turn off scales and chords. If I play a C major chord, those are my notes. C, you got E, and you got your G. That's the classic triad inversion. But I could move this C, instead of playing it as the bottom note of the chord, I could play as the top note of the chord. Same notes, but now I'm starting on the E, G, and C. Hear how it sounds a little bit different? We could do the same thing. We could take this G and we could move it down to this G. So here it sounds a little different, a little warmer. Cool. Okay, those are called inversions. If you didn't know. Now, why does that matter? It matters because scales and chords is playing the first inversion, that classic. Whoops, let me turn chords back on. It's playing that classic first inversion of each chord. Let me show you something that I do often with scales and chords player when I'm actually, once I've got a chord progression. So let's say we like this chord progression, we're going to use it. I click the send to track button. I should point out that if you're doing this in the Reason Rack plugin, it's done a little differently because the Reason Rack plugin doesn't have its own sequencer. And so you would have to, I made a tutorial about MIDI out. This method would be done using MIDI out, but in Reason standalone, I can click send to track. And once I've done that, you'll notice that what it has done is it has written the notes of the chord progression. Wait, let me pull it back up. It's written them into my sequencer as the actual notes. It's no longer creating, if I were to, in fact, if you look up here at the top, my scales and chords player is bypassed. So now when we play, it's going to sound exactly the same. Okay. But now that we have access to the individual notes, we can start playing with, remember that thing I was doing with my hand and inverting and saying, oh, what if I move, like for example, what if I move this note or this note? If I take this and I move it, instead of playing this F, I'm going to move it up to the next F. That's just another inversion. Same chord. Move it back. In fact, to make so that we don't hear all that little plinky planky, I'll do my little quick key and do plus 12. There's that chord. Let's go minus 12. Same chord, different inversion. Why does that matter? Well, it matters because, let's see if I can, how do I explain this? I'm going to try and explain this to you guys. This was a thing someone explained to me once about organ players. Oh, you know who it was? I think it was Stefan. Stefan, you may be the source of my epiphany here. I'm pretty sure that Stefan, who's running our chat, does all of our artists and social media and all our a fantastic member of our team. I think it was him that said to me once that the strategy an organist uses is to move their hand as little as possible. When they're going from chord to chord, they're not doing these big things to try and play these big wide chords, and they're not moving all around on the organ. They're trying to, like, whenever possible, just move a finger or two and just stay within this position. And that's kind of what gives organ the quality that makes organ sound like organ. And I started thinking about that as it relates to chord inversions. And watch what happens. If I looked at this, you see how there's sort of a, well, there's something of an arc pattern here. We start down here on our one chord, then we go up to the 6 minor, then we kind of come down to the 3, then we go a little bit lower to the 7, and then we loop back and we go back up to the 1 chord. What if I came up with a strategy? What if I thought of this like an organist, in the sense that I want, instead of having this kind of arced motion, I actually want to try and have the most horizontal. I'm going to use the same notes. I'm not changing my notes, but I want to have the most kind of horizontal motion possible. Well, all I got to do, I mean, it's just, you literally can do it visually. I'm going to grab this note. Actually, no, before I do this, let's make a copy. Okay. I'm going to grab this note, and we're going to go down an octave. I'm going to do -12 just to shift it. And it's still, see, now this chord still kind of goes up a little bit. So I'm going to grab this one. Let's see if we can go -12. Ah, now look at that. Now the difference between, I haven't changed the chords. It's worth stressing this point over and over again, that the chords haven't changed. The inversions of the chords have changed. So watch. Why did that sound the way that did? Hang on a second. I'm going to just make sure that we're not trimming these notes. Did I forget to quantize myself? There we go. And so again, watch here. This is what we started with. Here's this. They're the same chords, but do you hear that the quality of what is happening there, instead of it being bung, 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 I can't sing up that high, but instead of this big leap, this sonic leap, it's just this little, like, you know, it's kind of got this little, I don't know, like can chords have swagger? If chords can have swagger, this chord progression suddenly has a little bit like, yeah, I'm at the 1 chord. Oh, you want me to go to 6 minor? All right. How's that for you? And kind of just tonally kind of just morphs a little bit, rather than being this big, hey, look at me down here. Now look at me up here. If that makes sense. I hope that makes sense. So watch, let's do the same thing. Let's take this chord. And again, we're kind of going, oh wait, do I need to, I nearly forgot. We're kind of going up again. So let's just visually, we're going to take this, and I'll go down an octave again. And okay, well, this one's maybe something of a taste thing. We could, it's a change either way, right? If this goes back up, and I'm speaking only visually. So here it's kind of still changing. It's kind of going up a little bit. If I go here visually, it's kind of going down a little bit, but I think to my eye, that one looks the most horizontal. So I'm going to go for that. And then the one that's here is probably okay. Or maybe do we want to move this up? Let's go +12 on this one. I'm not sure. Let's compare. Okay, so here, watch. Let's move this one up 12 and hear how that sounds. Different inversion. They're both nice. I'm not mad at either. I guess maybe I would stick to that for the sake of this technique. But what you've set yourself up for here, watch this. I'm going to double my chord progression. I'll join it. I could do one thing the first time and one thing the second time. So let me go 12 here. And now we've got all the same chords. And listen, we've created a 8-bar loop that is the same chords twice, but just slightly with different inversions. It's going to sound a little, it's going to just sound like an 8-bar loop instead of a 4-bar loop. Listen. And there you go. We haven't reinvented the wheel in terms of our chord progression. We're using this standard 1, or the minor key, 1, 6, 3, 7. Standard, a million songs use it. We're using it too. We've used the inversions. We've moved the notes, only moving them octaves. We've moved the inversions of the chords so that we're kind of creating a little more of a solid horizontal lateral movement, tonally speaking. Sounds a little more like an organist. We will name this the Stefan technique. David says, Stefan, I'm his muse, or you're my muse. I mean, yeah, he is. Stefan is my muse. Wait till you hear all the gent speed metal that I'm working on. It's gonna take me 30 years to be as good as Stefan is at it. But anyway, okay. So we've done. Now we could do the opposite. This is the thing. When we start playing around with these inversions, we actually could do the opposite. We could say, let's not try and stay as lateral as possible. Let's actually go the other direction. How? Watch. Let me show. Actually, maybe we should change the sound. Should we change the sound? Let's change the sound. Hang on. Do this. And ooh, plucks. Should I do a pluck? You know how I feel about plucks. Not that pluck though. Let's see. Let's look around. Say no. Maybe? Move the filter a little bit. Yeah, sure. We'll go with this. That'll work. Okay. So now let me jump back into my chords here. Remember what I said before? What we were going for before was that we were going to try and have as much lateral movement as possible. Let's do the opposite. Let's play with inversions on this half to have as much directional movement as possible. So I'm going to do the opposite. Let's try and have it climb sort of like in a ladder, you know? So I'm going to take this note, I'm going to move it 1 octave up. Okay. Now we've got, again, this is the same chord, different inversion. Now I want to move this note 1 octave up, and that's still not climbing like a ladder. So we're going to move this note 1 octave up. Okay. Now are you seeing how it's starting to go here? Then it goes a little higher, then it goes a little higher. Let's move this note 1 octave up. Let's move this note 1 octave up. Okay. So now we've got this chord, so I'll highlight them. We got these 4 chords are identical to these 4 chords, but the difference is that the strategy I'm employing here is I'm trying to stay as lateral as possible by changing different chord inversions, and this one I'm trying to climb as much as possible. Let's take a listen to how the two sound. That all gets pretty high. But do you hear it? Let's move the whole thing down an octave. Now, let's we're sort of in EDM territory. So let's put a dual arpeggio underneath this. And I saw Spio in the chat earlier today. Let's throw up one of his. Let's see how that works. So now, same chords. We're just going to now use dual arpeggio to kind of plonk around them. Or are we? Oh, right. Wait, hang on. I need to turn off. We've got our bypass on. There we go. Let's add some stuff to this. Autoplay, rookie mistake. There we go. So, okay, I might call it a day there. I've been on almost 2 hours. That's my own fault. Get to the point faster, Ryan. But hopefully you guys are seeing there the concept, and I can't. Train wreck? Is that reference to me? I'm looking at the comments. Was I a train wreck? Might be. So hopefully you guys are recognizing the concept here of taking chord progressions, using these fence posts, these common chord progressions, thinking, if you will, if it works for you, it works for me, thinking in natural numbers, and working with inversions to create flavors within those chord progressions. There are a lot of places we can go with this, and in fact, I'm going to condense this 2-hour stream into a 15-minute tutorial and cover even more ground. So that's for those of you who have been on this stream and then watched the tutorial, maybe you'll have some appreciation for the power of editing when you're actually writing. There are places we can go with taking these chords and then adding just little notes that will sort of flavor the chords a little different. But hopefully this helped get you started. Hopefully you guys had fun. I'm keeping an eye on the comments, and it looks like some people, Michael Dugan, has found this useful. So good. Scott, good. Laura Zombie, I hope I'm saying that right, or Laura. Everyone's okay. Good. I'm checking with the things. I could have just now checked in at the end here and found out that everybody was snoozed and checked out an hour ago. But I'm hopefully people have found some of this useful. Chord progressions are one of these things, and there's a lot in music making that is a mystery until it's not. Hopefully last week, some of that started to open up on some of the synth concepts. If you were totally new to the idea of synthesis and patching Complex One or Thor to start making sounds, it's like it's a total black box art and mystery until it's not. And then once it's not, it's like it's basic tools that get employed. And like I said before, this chord progression, this is not the end of my song. This is actually the start of my song. This is like, when a person painting a picture like lays on just the blue background of a sky. They got to still paint the mountain and the bowl of fruit and the whatever. The chords are sort of just the foundation from which I do everything else. And that's where I would go with this. I would now start working on melodies, put on a different drum beat, write words. I would do all those things. So anyway, I hope you guys have had fun. I'm going to, here, I think I've made it a habit of playing. See what we do. I don't quite have the agenda worked out yet. If you guys have suggestions for these, by all means, send them my way. And next week on Your Reason to Stay Inside, let's do this again.